This is the latest magazine about Julie Becker, who is my daughter. But some of her artwork is actually part of her work. And this shows, this was on exhibit, but this also shows that she edited a film. It was based upon a hotel which was being, she was decommissioned, I guess you could say, and she was in charge of pulling everything out, and she got some of the rooms in it and so on. Okay, The Delirium of Digression, Julie Becker by Sabrina Tarasov. I have frankly not read this. Julie Becker is my daughter. And Julie was a very introspective girl who we got along really pretty well. And I basically taught her about her first moves in processing film and all that kind of thing. I also gave her Art Bell, which is a radio program about the paranormal and extraterrestrials, etc., etc., etc. We both share that together. Since Art died, it's been taken over by George Norrie, who's made even a bigger deal out of it. Now, I don't know exactly, in many cases, what these pictures are supposed to be doing, but I do know that they're supposed to be ironic. And this is actually an elevator. But the elevator was actually part of her closet, in which she drilled a hole at the bottom of the closet, made an elevator, and this, by the way, is a bank right here. And the bank is part of the elevator being going up and down into this particular building. Notice it's going down. And this is California Federal, now a bank out of business, who evidently originally owned that building. Now, I don't know how you fit all these things, but you can see there's a TV, and the TV has a spirit that's coming out of it. This was paranormal. The spirit was coming out she haunted a TV set. This was a haunted TV, I guess you could say. An idea of projected reality. Now you have down here a not paneled wood bar room, and it's being photographed on top of each other to show the artificiality of the whole idea of what you're doing. She was fascinated by the hotel in Jack Nicholson, where he was a crazy owner of a crazy caretaker to a hotel, and some of the designs are taken from that hotel. She found it very exciting to do it. It is actually like a hotel for restless spirits. And if you want to know what kind of people were living in the hotel, you can there's little tiny booklets which you can pick up out of these filing areas and read about what each particular person had to do in that hotel. By the way, the hotel was actually sponsored after The Shining. This right here, this office is interesting in as much as right now it says, what does that say, Ron? I can't see it because it's what it says. Now, if you walk through these various areas and these, up and down through the aisles of all of this particular production, when you walked in through this office, some of the the desk signs that would appear. I thought that desk as your various times of entrance and exit from the exhibit. Michelangelo's art project was in his studio, but never was the studio part of the art project. In Julie's situation, the actual art project and the studio to make it were all part of the art projects, which puts you in it and puts you in back of it, or in front of the camera, or in back of the camera at the same time. It's almost too much information. So Julie's work does not go down easily. It needs to be digested slowly. Now this is right over here is where all the participants would just sit down there with magnifying glasses and check in on all the main books that had to do with this hotel. Okay, this I think was taken at the Museum of Contemporary Art in London. You're going to get a big shadow over here. Be careful. As you can see, part of the Place to Rest, which was the name of the big exhibit, is exhibited in London as well. And this again, like the exhibits right here, that shows how it was all constructed together, which became the art pieces unto themselves. Of a wall with a door in it. Now, how does that fit? It looks totally like something from the Twilight Zone. Now, we see these kind of things all the time, but how do you think of it? As Twilight Zone, or do you think about it as just a decoration and just something to pass the time with your eyes? I think Julie is looking at this big forest and a door in it. For crying out loud, how does that happen? Well, there it is. Now here she did a great deal of things with these corners. You look at them, they're almost like motifs to think about. But each particular pattern, like this one over here, is about basketball. Well, it's a room, sports, all sorts of sports. Yet what does that actually mean? It's actually interesting. Look at here. In a way, you can look at this shape as if it's like a box in a corner. And this is what you're looking at. Now, what there is in there is what you bring to it. Some people can't bring anything to it, but you can if you have the resolve. Now, Julie did many mirrors. This is more of the Wizard of Oz, as you can see. And she did a lot of things with mirrors, and this is one of the mirrors that you could look at, and of course you never really see anything in the mirror. That's what your imagination says. But she did a lot of them. I think that this magazine could be a collector's piece, this magazine, and therefore it may be, this edition may be quite valuable in the future. I have not seen it before. I did not even know it existed. But I'm happy to say that Julie is probably a third of the magazine, or at least 25% of it. Mousse. I don't know. Is that French? Mousse? I don't know. Maybe that's another word for museum. Museum. I really have no idea. It sounds French, doesn't it?